Okay, and because I'm changing my presentation somewhat, not having the use of the PowerPoint, I'm going to kind of wing it a little bit, but I also want to get some questions. So I'm going to talk about a topic or two and then get questions that you might have. When we left the room upstairs, I was asking who had made some preparations for today. And I got a lot of people that started exercising, not too many people had started working on their pantry yet. And to achieve successful weight loss, it's all about the planning. Because how often do you get caught somewhere and all you can find is healthy food to eat? You can't find any junk food at all. How often does that happen? Right, not very often. So you've got to plan to find that healthy food. You've got to plan to have it with you. I have a little system. I have emergency peanuts with me at all times. So that way if I get caught, I know I've got something to eat. So planning is number one for successful weight loss. Now the first thing I want to put out there, I guess it'll be the second. Y'all, I went to Tennessee public school. If I count wrong, I'm blaming it on that. So the first thing I'm going to put out there is it's a balance that we're looking for. Y'all may have heard of energy balance. You got energy coming in when we eat. We got energy going out when we exercise. Just sort of a fun point. One of the, when you exercise, you burn different calories. For example, a spin class, an hour spin class is pretty aggressive. You might spend or burn 400 to 600 calories. The activity with the lowest rate of calories burned is laying on the couch watching TV. Very true. It's actually, you burn fewer calories laying on the couch watching TV than you do sleeping. So that's one habit that you can look at minimizing to change your lifestyle to increase your physical activity. So back to the energy balance equation. There's a couple of things that go into our energy out. So our energy expenditure. Some of it we have control over, some of it we don't. So what we do have control over is our physical activity, how much we exercise, how much we move. There are two types of physical activity. I think this is really important. There's the programmed activity. I'm going to the gym, I'm going to the step class, I'm going to go hike a mountain. And then there's the lifestyle activity. I'm going to park at the end of the parking lot and walk in. I'm going to park far away from the store. I'm going to take the stairs. We all know this. It's doing it that's hard, right? So over these next 8 weeks, you want to have a plan for how you're going to get that lifestyle activity in too, because that's the easiest way to raise your calorie burn. All right, at the baseline of our calorie burn, our energy out, is our resting metabolic rate. And that's the energy that you burn by breathing, by your heart pumping, by your liver doing its thing. This is just your basic calories burned when you're resting. We don't have a whole lot of control over that. The second area is digesting food burns calories. So when you hear that you want to eat every 2 to 4 hours, small meals, you don't eat 2,000 calories every 2 to 4 hours. You eat 200 calories every 2 to 4 hours, or some small number like that. But when you eat at a regular interval, you keep your digestive system moving. You can slightly increase your calorie burn that way. Now, in your types of activity, you've got those two, programmed, lifestyle. Within those two, you've got two more, aerobic and weight training. Weight training will build muscle. Muscle burns more calories than fat. So if you do 2 20-minute, this would be a minimum, a place to start or work to, 2 20-minute sessions of weight training a week, then that can help you increase your muscle mass, which will help you increase your resting metabolic rate. So those are some things to keep in the back of your mind, is eat less, move more, but think about this moving more, because you can't just not eat and successfully lose weight. So that's very important, that energy balance equation. And I had a beautiful slide talking about calories from fat and calories from protein, all that sort of stuff. Know that fat calories, foods that are high in fat, contain more calories. On a per gram basis, protein and carbohydrate are the same. They carry 4 calories per gram. Fat carries 9 per gram, so more than double the calories. So if you have a teaspoon of protein, a teaspoon of fat, you're getting more calories out of that fat. So your food selection is important. And then alcohol, because some people enjoy a little alcohol in their diet, is 7 calories per gram. You don't get any nutrients from alcohol. So gotta put that up there. All right. I'm sure that was a little bit of bad news for y'all. Okay. Now, because I knew I was going to be talking to a whole different range of people, and there would be no way I could tell you how many calories you need to eat. It's variable. Some people have a low metabolism, some people have a high metabolism, different people have different activity levels, so I'm going to send y'all out to a tracker. If you haven't already got how many calories you need to eat, that's something you absolutely need to know to maintain or lose weight. We're losing weight for 8 weeks, not maintaining. So I want you to go out, and we're going to have to put this PowerPoint out on the web. On the intranet, you're going to have some handouts in these websites as well. So the intranet may be updated before y'all get the website. But I have 3 favorite trackers. One is the Super Tracker, which is the federal government's program. If you go to Choose My Plate, you can find Super Tracker. You tell it, and well, let me just tell y'all 3 of them. So Super Tracker is one of them. Spark People is another. S-P-A-R-K, like, you know, spark a change. So Spark People is another really good site. That's a good site for a lot of support too. So Spark People. And then another good one that's real popular is MyFitnessPal. And I see some people nodding. I can tell there's some people who've already signed up for these services and are using them. And they can be really beneficial. So y'all need to go there. Or if you don't have it, does everybody have some internet access? Well, in their life. I'm not going to ask where. It's none of my business. In case your boss is in the room. So you want to go out to these websites. You're going to tell them your age, don't lie, your weight, don't lie again, and your height. No worries there. And your activity level, be honest. And then it's going to ask you, do you want to lose weight, do you want to maintain weight? You answer that question, then it's going to pop out a calorie level for you. 2,000 calories, 1,600 calories, a very minimum for people to eat. On women's side, I don't like to see people eating less than 1,200 calories a day because you need a certain level of vitamins and minerals, other phytonutrients, as well as fiber. We don't want to be cranky now, do we? So you need plenty of fiber. You need a minimum of 1,200 calories to be able to get all those things. For men, I think 1,600 calories is a good minimum to get all your nutrients again. So sometimes, you know, we have, to put some calories in perspective, I'm guilty of it. So every now and then we all get these. We put different things in them. But if you got this one, now let's see, this was on my slide. Let me see if I can find it. There we go. One of these a day of a regular soda is 375 calories. Okay, to lose a pound a week, we need to drop about 500 calories from our diet each day and move to the tune of 500 calories a day. Both of those things. This is why the lifestyle physical activity is so important. If you can't make time to go to a gym, you need to find time to walk or do the stairs or something like that. So just cutting out one of these a day is 1.5 pounds in 8 weeks. I went ahead and did the 8-week math for y'all, so y'all would know what the short-term investment is. So if you're trying to cut by 500 calories and you're looking at your diet, you want to look for the empty calories. Look for the coffee mochas, the sodas, the regular sugar-sweetened tea, and this is where I usually get yelled at. Beverages are low-hanging fruit to cut your calories. We have very good tasting water in Columbia. We're quite lucky with that. And so if you don't like the taste of water, try flavoring it up with maybe some cucumber slices. Well, it's actually good. I heard a bleh over there. It's actually pretty good. It gives a nice light flavor. You can throw some sprigs of mint in. I even know some people that throw in a little oregano because that's what they grow and they're accustomed to the taste. So you can flavor that water up. But know that your calories count. Your liquid calories very much count. And they're a lot of what gets us in trouble. So we want to watch out for that. And of course, this is free, cheap, and easy. And it looks pretty good right now because I'm yelling. Okay. Does anybody have a question so far? Oh, come on, y'all help me out a little bit here. I lost my PowerPoint.
Question.
Okay.
Why do they always tell you to cut the diet drinks out as well?
Okay. What's your question then?
Coffee.
Coffee. What about it?
Most of us think
Okay.
better to have just straight black or nothing wrong.
Okay, and then what's yours?
No, I was just telling you he was first.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, I'll take them both then. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to start with coffee because I can put tea with it. And we'll come back to diet sodas. So coffee and tea, perfectly healthy drinks. You have flavonoids, can promote heart health, and then we add heavy cream and sugar to the point that we can't taste the original beverage anymore. So what I would advise and suggest to y'all is start backing up on it. So if you like light and sweet coffee, then start adding a little bit less each day because you're adding a lot of calories that you're going to have to work to take off. And y'all know how fast can you drink a bottle of a 12-ounce can of something? I mean, it goes down like that. So by taking where you are today, let's make it yesterday because y'all are all changing today. So look at what you did yesterday and back up just a little bit on it. If you're using a full-fat creamer, look at a fat-free creamer to get those calories down. If you're using sugar, you can try an artificial sweetener, or you can just try less. Now that leads me to my diet sodas. So that was a nice little segue, thank you. Diet sodas are under fire because in the 30 years that diet artificial sweeteners have been on the market, Americans have not lost weight. So what they were originally designed for was to help people with diabetes have a sweet treat in their life, and that's their purpose. They've never been shown to cause cancer, although some people suspect that they are at the bottom of a number of maladies, but nothing's been proven yet. We're all pretty suspicious of them. But here's where I have a firm opinion on them. Alternative sweeteners do not help us adjust our sweet tooth. And as you're trying to lose weight and change your eating habits, if you're drinking something intensely sweet a couple of times a day, then you don't learn to prefer less sweet items. So then when you go for a snack and you're looking at the display and you see an apple and a Twinkie, you go, ooh, a Twinkie. And the apple doesn't have a chance because you want that sweet. So if we can back off on the sweet tooth a little bit, and this is something we have to learn and work at and practice. So they don't help us learn to curb our sweet tooth. And then more recent, but as of yet unconclusive studies are indicating that our systems may get mixed signals. So our tongue gets the sweet taste. Ooh, sugar. All right. Our body's signals start acting. The word is out. We got sugar. All right. So our insulin starts pumping and other things start happening. And then no sugar shows up. And so that's at the crux of some of this new research that they think, and y'all want to stress this, they think that the artificial sweeteners may interrupt our metabolic pathways. So those are two good reasons to kind of be cautious with them. They are, well, if used cautiously and wisely, they can be a tool for weight loss. And I had something that was supposed to go right after that, and I forgot what it was. Don't rely too heavily on artificial sweeteners. That'd be a short study there. Does that answer your question? Was it sort of what you were expecting?
Well, the second part was new information. So I'm trying to understand what that makes.
Yeah. So we just want to be careful with that. Okay, so y'all stay with me. I want to go ahead and I've kind of looked through my notes and move on to something that's also topical that I think a lot of people need help with. So it's actually two things I want to make sure I get in my presentation today. So the first one, I really wish I had a slide to show y'all. It's about levels of processing, okay? So right now in our food supply, we have a lot of highly refined, inexpensive foods that are engineered by very smart people to taste good. Because we've got a lot of smart food scientists that know how to work fat, sugar, and salt to please our taste buds, to make it more appealing. And while we are all born with a taste for fat, sugar, and salt, it's part of our biological drive, it is also to an extent something that is learned. So you can learn to prefer heavy cream in your coffee, or you can learn to prefer fat-free half and half. It's kind of in your attitude, which is at the last part of the presentation. So we can learn some things to that effect. So with our levels of processing and with a healthy diet to get the most nutrients you can, because to lose weight you need to cut your calories. To cut your calories means that every bite needs to have some vitamins, some minerals, some phytonutrients in it. So we want to look at how much our food is processed. And I don't know that I've got the best examples up here. I had a beautiful slide. So let's think of corn. We use corn as my example because it's in all kinds of food. So corn on the cob, a whole food. The corn on the cob, it's all there. Whole food, not processed. Cut the corn off the cob, you can it, you dry it, you've got canned corn, you've got popcorn. Minimally processed. Still an okay food. Don't have any problem with that. Still okay. Nothing wrong with canned, frozen, and dried foods. All right, the next step down the corn chain is they grind it up and they make masa and cornmeal and corn chips. And then they do a few other processes and you get corn syrup. Highly refined products. You'll find less nutrition, more additives, more calories, fewer vitamins, fewer minerals. So when you're out shopping and you can buy whole kale, which you have to wash 3 or 4 or 5 times, you can buy kale in a bag. Got no problem with that. Still a whole food. Flip that package over just to make sure. It should say kale and shut up. I like that. Thank you very much. I'll be here all week. Okay. All right, frozen foods. Now this is where you gotta watch it. Perfectly virtuous spinach. You know, Popeye loves spinach. And nowadays, it used to be, you saw spinach, you grab spinach, keep on going, you don't worry about it. Nowadays, you gotta pay attention because it's spinach with cream sauce, spinach with butter sauce, spinach with, I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's in my food anyway sauce. So you wanna flip your packages over. You can add that sauce at home if you want to, but what they add in the plant is a much more chemical product than what we would be eating. We don't know how those foods affect our weight control. So it's caution, better not to have it. So when you're in the frozen aisles, look for just the vegetable on that. And then we find the breaded spinach ball with cheese in it. And I'm not saying any more other than I am one of these people that will say that's the kind of stuff you don't need to be eating for the next 8 weeks. The fried fritters. And then once you don't eat those for 8 weeks, you're probably not going to want them anyway. How's them apples? Y'all buying that? As you start changing your diet, you'll find that your tastes change. Okay, so I had a few people who did a pantry cleanup. Anybody did some pantry cleanup? Okay, good. Now, we were all getting up and moving around a while ago when I told everybody that's your assignment for tonight. If you're serious about the weight loss challenge, you need to get rid of the cookies, the chips, anything that makes you go, oh, yeah. Your problem foods, you either need to lock them up, give them to a friend, do something. But, huh? Oh, you want to finish the bag? Oh, okay. So the question was, that's all right, I got that. Question was, can I finish the bag first? And my answer is, you need to check with your teammates. So you want to pay attention to that. All right, so what I want to put together now is the quality of your food and then what's in your pantry now. So we really do want to be looking for maximum weight control, best nutrition in your diet, because this is going to roll over to your health. One of the things I haven't gotten out there yet. Weight is absolutely linked to your health status. It's linked to development of diabetes. It's linked to the heart disease, hypertension, cancer, arthritis. Absolutely linked. So taking care of your weight takes care of everything else, mostly. So wild rice, brown rice, whole wheat bread, whole grain or whole wheat pasta, all these things are items you want to see in your pantry right now. Beans are an excellent source of protein and fiber. They're less expensive than meat. They also have less calories than meat. So these are things you want to see in your pantry. If you have never enjoyed peas and pasta together, that's another homework assignment for later on in the week. Y'all try that. I think you'll like it. Black-eyed peas and pasta are pretty good.
What type of bread is it? What type of bread?
A whole wheat or a whole grain bread. And for those of y'all that have been on my grocery store tours, this will be a repetition. When you're reading your labels, and you absolutely have to flip them over and look at the back side, let me pick something bigger than that. You want to find that it's, this is a bad example, whole, if it's a wheat product, for wheat only, it needs to be whole wheat. So I've disappointed many people in the last few weeks. Honey wheat bread, if you flip that over, is not a whole wheat product. The first ingredient is enriched. If you see enriched, that means they took something out and they had to put it back in. They never put everything back in. So look for that word whole. Exceptions to the rule of whole are oats, wild rice, brown rice, and popcorn. Everything else, you're looking for that word whole, because that tells you what's there. So your ingredient statement is normally going to be found underneath your nutrition facts panel. That old Breyers commercial, 5 ingredients or more, you know, the little kid reading the vanilla, disodium glycolactate. You want to apply that rule here, because the more small little ingredients that are in there that are not natural, our bodies may not know how to handle those. It can, I want to think of the right way they're recording me, so I want to make sure I get this right. It may or may not affect our weight gain, but we know that some of the things that they put in our food do impact our metabolic process. So the closer we can stay to natural, the better off we're going to be. I think that's a good way to put that. Okay, so we're going to look at our pantry. You're going to get frugal with your food supply. Lots of vegetables. Just out of curiosity, we'll make sure. If you think this is a non-starchy vegetable, kale, raise your hand. Non-starchy vegetable. Very good. All right, yes. You want to think about your vegetables in 2 categories, starchy and non-starchy. Both are okay. Not one is not better than the other. They're a little bit different. So your starchy, non-starchy vegetables, we're going to start there. Primarily green. Not all of them, but most of them. They are your green leafies. Kale, collards, turnip, spinach, thank you. I had a blank there. What was it? Mustard greens, yeah, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, onions count as a non-starchy vegetable. Leeks, we don't really eat too many leeks around here. Gosh, I had a list of them. I keep a list, huh? Spinach, yes. Anything that's, here we go. Jicama, and as we start thinking about healthy snacks and low-calorie snacks, you want to keep your metabolism going by eating something small every 2 to 4 hours. Low-calorie, high nutrition. So your non-starchy vegetables are great. Bell peppers, hot peppers, if you're of that ilk. Tomatoes, little cherry tomatoes make a great snack. Jicama, which is a food that's found more in the Mexican cuisine, but it's sort of like a cross between a potato and a cucumber. So it's nice and crunchy and wet. And if you're a crunch person, it might be something you like. Also, salsa counts as one of your non-starchy vegetables. And as long as you put something baked and whole with it, you've got a healthy snack. So a baked whole grain tortilla chip and some salsa would be a healthy snack for you. You want to get your calorie level, find out what size your snack should be, and then prepare that the night before to take to work. Okay. Carrots. Carrots are on the fence. They're a good vegetable. I don't care what Suzanne Summers says. You can eat carrots. A couple of years ago, Suzanne Summers had all the people in the nursing homes riled up over carrots. So when carrots are cooked, they tend to get a little more dense and they have more carbohydrate content by weight. When they're raw, they don't. So carrots are kind of on the fence. Thank you for bringing that up. I like to think about that every so often. Now, your starchy vegetables. They have a few more calories in them, but all vegetables have fiber, but a lot of your starchy vegetables are the ones that also count as a protein. So your beans, your peas, potatoes don't count as protein, but sweet and Irish potatoes are starchy. Sweet and Irish potatoes are starchy. They don't count as a protein though. But your beans and your peas, y'all help me out in case I'm forgetting something. Corn, thank you. I talked about that earlier, forgot all about it. Corn doesn't count as a protein vegetable either. So your potatoes and your corn aren't protein sources, but your beans and peas are. Lima beans would be a protein source. Yeah. Green peas are also a good source of protein too. They're not as high as others. If you want a bean chart, by golly, I can send you one. I love beans. They're one of my favorite things. And on that note, as you're looking at your snacks, think about incorporating a bean dip in. So you got your low-cal vegetable, and maybe you put a bean dip with it, which is going to have the texture that satisfies us. Because when you're changing your eating habits, you still want to satisfy what you like. Some people have a crunchy tooth. Some people have a smooth and creamy tooth. You know, it's what that texture that you prefer. You want to find a healthy snack that fits that bill. Okay. Now, we'll talk about nuts and seeds, avocados and olives, because those are all healthy foods that are high in calories. So if you add healthy foods that are high in calories, I'm not saying you shouldn't eat them. Y'all want to lose weight, right? So I'm laying it out there for you. You got to take something else out of your diet. It's all about replacement right now. You're taking the high calorie, low nutrition stuff, chunking it, putting in some low calorie, high nutrition, or sometimes high calorie, high nutrition. They're still okay. So you're getting rid of the fast food. Hamburgers, fried chicken, ribs. I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta say it. All of those are pretty high calorie, and we probably eat them more often than we ought to. So for the next 8 weeks, y'all try and abstain from the deep fried food. Even if it's a vegetable and it's deep fried, it no longer counts. And that's just your rule of thumb right there. So you want to get rid of the deep fried foods, and that makes room for the nuts, for the avocados. So you want to have a little guacamole with your chips. That's how you fit that in. You get rid of something else that's high calorie, low nutrition. Now with your nuts, those also count as protein. So when you have that nice salad, you no longer need the fried chicken on top of it. Maybe you have some nuts that go on top of it, or a low-fat cheese. Now who here has recently bought a 2% fat cheese? 1, 2, okay, we got about 3 in here. I'm gonna check back, that's gonna go up, I think. Most all of the grocery stores now have a low-fat cheese. It's made with 2% milk. You're getting about 30 to 50 calories an ounce less. And how do you like them? I saw you said you bought them. You like it pretty, pardon? He makes his grilled cheese with it, so that you can still have your grilled cheese. Thank you, that's a great example. So you've got your whole wheat bread. You're not going to butter your bread, right? You're going to get some spray and spray the bread. Hey, it's hard times. You want to win. They've got fabulous prizes. You know, you're not doing. I know you're doing this for the health of it, right? So you got your whole wheat bread, your 2% milk cheese. Get rid of the butter on the bread. You can still toast it up. You'll figure it out. Got your grilled cheese sandwich with your broth-based soup on the side. No cream soups. Y'all know cream soups are higher in fat than broth-based soups, right? Yes, ma'am.
Are you saying that the non-fat spray or parquet or whatever, I can't think of the other sponge?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, her question was about the sprays. Your pan spray. You're talking about the pan spray, right? What you spray your pan with? Or the spritz margarines? Okay, spritz margarine. Okay, her question is about using the spritz margarines. And actually, y'all hadn't thought about those. I kind of like that idea because that little spritz margarine, that's a light touch. unless you do that number. But if you're hanging back and spraying, that could be fine. That'll help your bread brown. But, and this is not weight loss, but I got to tell y'all this. On any fat that you buy that's a margarine type fat, read the label. If it has partially hydrogenated fats, do not buy it. Partially hydrogenated fats. This has nothing to do with weight loss, it's just general health. Get partially hydrogenated fats out of your diet. Okay? What? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Get the partially hydrogenated fats out of the diet. So just read those labels on fats, but if that spray parquet doesn't have any, I think that's a good idea. And then when you are cooking, you can use this pan sprays like the PAM and that sort of thing. That helps reduce your calories from added fat. So definitely use that as a cooking technique. One of the tools that's going to be on the intranet are some cooking tips. And I didn't give y'all a whole lot of references for recipe sites and cooking tip sites because there are so many on the internet. If you stick with Cooking Light, that's a good site. If y'all go to the Spark People or the MyFitnessPal or the other Super Tracker, you're going to find plenty of healthy recipes and healthy tips there. But we really want to be frugal with the fat, the sugar, and the salt. And really, that's a nice little segue. When you're doing your cooking and working with your dishes and stuff, one of the things that you want to do is to go home and measure your hand. Now, this is something the chefs will often tell you. So you're cooking. How often? I stop to measure stuff, but I know most people don't. So get your spoon and do both a teaspoon and a tablespoon and measure what it looks like in your hand, because not everybody's hand is the same size. Once you get an eyeball on what a teaspoon or a tablespoon looks like in your hand, you won't have to do that anymore. Now, I haven't washed my hands, so I'm not keeping that salt. Now, the other thing that you want to do for your portion size, because you got to look at your couple of steps in evaluating your food. You got to look at your food for what's it made of. Is it a carbohydrate? Is it a fat? Is it a protein? How does that affect the calorie content? You learned a while ago, and you probably already knew it, that fat has more calories than carbohydrate or protein. So you want to pick lower fat foods. Now, once you've selected your lower fat foods, you want the right amount, the right portion. And y'all aren't geeky like me. Y'all don't weigh and measure your food a lot. I do it for professional reasons, and plus I think it's fun sometimes. But on your dishware, you may have some indicators of how full something is. So at least once or twice, you need to evaluate how much you're eating in your dishware. And so there's two ways to do it. You can measure your food and then pour it in to see what it looks like. That's not real world. What I would do, what I suggest, is that you pour your normal serving in your normal bowl and then measure how much is that. You've got the package. Where'd my package go? And your package tells you that a half a cup is 150 calories, and you just found out that you're eating a cup and a half. No problem. Just do the math, know how much you're eating. That gives you your baseline. You're going to write down or track, if you want to be successful, everything that you eat or drink into either the old paper and pencil method, and on the intranet I've given you a couple of tools that you can use there, or you can use one of the electronic apps. When I was doing this, I don't do it as much as I used to, we didn't have the computer tools, and I wrote everything down with the calorie levels and that sort of thing. It takes a little while, but what the self-monitoring will do is it makes you aware of what you eat, makes you aware of how many calories, when you're eating, and if you really want to take it, if you're an emotional eater, and you want to get a handle on that, self-monitoring is the great way to do it. And if you are an emotional eater and want to capture that information, write down, give yourself a hunger rating. So you want to evaluate, and this is something we all need to learn too. Does everybody here get hungry on a regular basis? Okay, good. Well, we should be getting hungry. I mean, I know some people, they never get hungry. They don't let themselves get hungry. So we need to know what our hunger feels like. And I use a scale of 1 to 10. 1, I am way too hungry, I'm about to fall out. 10, oh my God, I can't believe I ate that much. So if you are, and 5 is, I could eat. So if you're an emotion leader and you're keeping your food log, you want to do that hunger rating. So then you can go back when you do your review and identify, oh, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm not hungry, but boy, I'm hitting the Snickers every day. So you can pull things like that out. The other thing you want to look at is who you're with. Because you may find that you have people that when you get around them, you do things that you don't want to do. Put it lightly. If you have some people that encourage you to eat things you shouldn't be eating or don't want to eat, you might want to find something else to do with them. Now guys, I'm not as helpful with y'all as I am with girls. With girls, it's easy. Instead of going to eat with them, we go shopping with them. Something like that. So guys, I don't know, whatever guys do, you can go hunting with them. Maybe not. Okay. So, but on your bowl, you want to pour your food in and then pour it into a measuring cup to see how much you're eating. Okay, so this is just I know most of y'all probably can't see this. This is coming down to my bottom row. I like these with the rings on it because I can tell as I see the rings how much is going in that bowl. So you've got some indicators there. But then also we want to pay attention to our dishes. Okay, so the other thing you want to pay attention to, and this is part of the mind game of weight management, and it's a funny animal, our mind. So you've got different looking bowls in your house probably. You'll see that it looks, this is the same amount obviously, just so pull it over. It looks like a different amount in the different bowl. Our eye picks up on this. You don't look like you're getting as much in this bowl as you do in this bowl. This bowl looks more full. So you want to look at your dishware and get your head in the game. Use the dishware that makes your portion look bigger. Because your eye doesn't get satisfied and your eye tells your brain that's not enough food. And it takes 15 minutes for your stomach and your brain to communicate. So your eye is saying, now, they're closer together. So your eye is saying right now, that's not enough food. And your belly doesn't get to weigh in for 15 more minutes. By then you may have eaten another serving. So go ahead and stack that deck. Play around with your dishware a little bit. Find which bowl makes your cereal look like more in the morning, or especially snack time. This is really when you want to get a handle on that and use a little cup that makes it look like more. And I'm gonna guess how much that is. A half cup, okay. Any other guesses? So we got an eyeball of a half a cup on this one. And this is one of these little bowls that you can buy. You can get 4 for $1 at the dollar store. No, let me find my half cup. So you're about half. So this is going to be about a quarter cup. But you need to do that little exercise to make sure you know how much you're eating. So we're gonna pin it down here. This is it's probably a third of a cup because it's rolling over there. But once you know this cup, how much that holds, you don't have to measure. You can just go ahead and get your portion and go do whatever it is that you're going to do while you have your snack. Now, since we have 8 weeks to lose as many pounds as we can, which by the way, we want to be safe and realistic. There's nothing worse than saying, I'm going to lose so much, and then you find out it's not possible. It just makes you want to chunk the whole thing. 1 to 2 pounds a week is a realistic, safe weight loss range. For men, you may get by with 3 and be safe, but for women, 1 to 2 pounds a week. So really, over the course of this 8 weeks, 8 to 16 pounds is a safe and realistic goal. When you start going on crash diets, you can have heart complications and other things going on. We don't want that. I don't want y'all being hungry. I want you to have all the non-starchy vegetables your bellies can hold so you can lose weight and stay full and nourished and make it through the challenge and hopefully win all these fabulous prizes here. So 1 to 2 pounds a week, which is going back to that about 500 calories a day from exercise, 500 calories a day from physical activity. It's going to take both. And as we exercise and build muscle, you may see your weight go up a little bit. Muscle's going to burn more calories though, so hang in there. Pick that low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit. Look at your snacking patterns. Look at your beverage patterns. Look at your fried food patterns. And look at your veggie patterns. If you're not getting 5 to 9 vegetable servings in a day, well, 9 would be a lot. Let's say 5 to 7 a day. I like a lot of vegetables. Vegetables have less calories than fruit. So if you're not getting those number of vegetables, you'll have this list that I've got in here somewhere in the email. You want to pick you out some vegetables that you can get along with and live with in your diet and enjoy. So that's your other, y'all got a lot of homework for tonight. Now, yes, ma'am.
Okay, when you're doing the vegetables, I know you say either the way you prepare your vegetables without preparing it with this or preparing it with this.
So what's
some people add certain ingredients with their vegetables.
Ah.
Give it a little bit of flavor or what. So can you help me down on telling me how to cook those vegetables?
So you want a healthy, tasty vegetable?
There you go.
Okay, so we got a question. What's some good ways to prepare vegetables that are healthy and tasty? Apparently she has a friend who has a secret and won't tell anybody. But on your vegetables, okay, number one, there's several ways to cook, as everybody knows. So in the South, we're, I think, wrongly accused of boiling our vegetables more than we else actually do. When you're boiling vegetables, you want to use a lid with a good fitting, a pot with a good fitting lid, and use as little water as possible. And only steam it until it's just done. So it still should have some shape. So the cell structure, it shouldn't be broken down so it's just laying all over the place. It needs to have bright color. So you don't want to boil in a whole lot of water. If you have in steaming vegetables, we really don't want to boil. We want to do more steaming than boiling. If you're going to saute, now this would really be a cooking demo, but on the sauteing side, you can saute in chicken broth or vegetable broth instead of using a fat, and that will take some of the fat calories out. But if you're going to saute in an oil, a couple of things, and you can still do that. I'm not going to make you eat plain, unseasoned vegetables for 8 weeks. You want to measure that oil and depends on how many people you're cooking for. When I'm evaluating recipes, if I see a recipe that serves 4 people, I want to see less than a teaspoon of oil per person. So that would be about a tablespoon for 4 servings. So that's one way to look at that. So you can use a little bit of oil. Also, when you're cooking, you're sauteing your vegetables, unless you're doing a stir fry, don't put it on super high heat so you can retain some of those nutrients. Oh, and then the seasoning part of it. So the salt doesn't have calories, but it can negatively affect some of our other body processes, so we want to manage our salt. However, you want that flavor in there. Hot peppers can ever so slightly help increase your metabolism. So if you like hot things, by all means, throw it in there. Any herbs, basil, oregano, thyme, parsley, what have you, throw those in there for flavor, and that'll give you a little extra nutrition. So there's no real secret there. It's the same advice you've gotten before. Try to cook them so they're still nice and bright and that they've got some texture left to them. Now, I definitely want to get some more questions, but I also want to talk about plate sizes and your plates at home. If you use, and I've got 3 with me, if you use the biggest size plate and you're putting modest portions on this big size plate, that same issue is going to happen with your eye. Your eye is going to be hungry. So you want to, maybe find your salad plate, depending on your meal. This is a slightly smaller plate, so you could use that. You've got a salad plate size. Think about using that. Definitely the size of our plates and bowls impact how much we eat. It's part of that head game that goes on. There's a lot of psychology involved in eating. Everybody knows that. The trick with weight loss is how do you get inside your head and overcome some of these psychological issues, because we use food for more than just nourishment. And I want to spend a few minutes on some strategies to help you with the mind game, because there's a few things that once you get over that hurdle, boy, it makes it so much easier. And I'll just tell y'all the one thing that finally helped me. I had to come up with a saying. You're at the party, you're at a buffet line, you're out. I used to work for a food distributor. Food was all over the place all the time. I had to come up with a strategy that I could get away from that food and still be sane and not be biting people's heads off because I wanted that cake. So I finally came up with, I put my hand somewhere and I would tell myself, I like the way I look better than I like chocolate cake. It's silly, but it worked. So you're going to want, and everybody's thing is going to be different and unique to you. So it might be, I don't know what you're going to do with your hands, but it might be, I'm not going to eat that because I want to be able to run around and play with my grandkids. There's something in your...
Hold on 1 second.
Yes.
1 second before I start losing everybody that's got to go, okay? Give me 3 minutes. We got some really important information to talk about. Okay, we're going to come back to this in just a minute. All right. The PowerPoint that she's talking from today, we will email first for questions.
Okay, don't open those nuts. I should have said that first. Now, I had little 1 ounce packages of walnuts that I was passing out, and my point on that, if you haven't opened them yet, I want you to do one thing with it. And I already opened mine, but you want to measure your hand. I measured my hand a while ago for salt and spices in cooking, but you also want to take that ounce of nuts and pour that in your hand, and that will teach you, see, my hand gets pretty full, what your hand can hold, and that helps by measuring your hand. You got your own walking around portion tool. So if you got a bag of those nuts, if you hadn't already eaten them, then see how it fits into your hand, and that helps you to eyeball that. When I worked at my first job in life, well, actually my second job, was working at Baskin-Robbins. Best job ever. For the first 2 weeks, I had to weigh every ice cream scoop that I scooped up. And by golly, I still know what 2.5 ounces of ice cream feels like. So by measuring, your walking around tools, then you're in better situation to keep on top of how many calories and what your portions are, how much you're eating. Okay, just a few things, and then I'll hopefully get a few questions. Management at the table. We're not going to be able to get into holidays and parties and things like that, but the one thing that you want is a plan. So know what you're going to be eating, know what your week looks like. If you may want to look at scheduling, make sure that you can get a break. I know some of y'all work in crazy areas where you don't know if you're going to get a break, you don't know how long it's going to be. So maybe by working with your teammates, you can find that 10 or 15 minutes to get you a snack so you don't get desperate hungry, because that's an area. When you get desperate hungry, that's the danger zone. Something's going to go wrong. If you don't have those emergency peanuts or whatever your thing is, you know what's going to happen. That's right. It's all going to explode. You're going to see the KFC and you're going to go for it. But if you have a plan, you'll be able to overcome that. So a couple of things. Drink a glass, and this is sort of generic things. Drink a glass of water 15 minutes before your meal. If you go into a party or an event, drink some water beforehand. Give that brain-belly connection time for them to communicate. Try and pay attention as much as you can to when you're eating. I know that kind of sounds silly, but we're a mindless kind of a society. We eat, watch TV, we eat and drive. We do all kinds of stuff. So when you eat, especially if it's a treat. If you're going to have chocolate, and by the way, the price of chocolate's going up, then sit down and pay attention to that chocolate. I was talked about different plate sizes, and I don't think too many men are going to like this idea, but for the ladies, you may want to try eating with a salad fork. Fit less on it. A salad fork. So use smaller plate, smaller fork. Slows you down a little bit. Putting your fork down, chewing. It's good to chew 20 times. We used to hear that advice. And then also start eating your low-calorie foods first. So if you dig in, if you happen to be somewhere and they've got homemade macaroni and cheese, which is also on that special food list, don't start with that. Start with the salad. Fill up on that. Fill up on the low-calorie stuff. Make sure you get that in first. Then go for the high-calorie stuff. It's all about strategy. You got 8 weeks. Now, I look at this in 2 different ways. To me, you're just getting started. You got 8 weeks to get a boost, a jump start. And then that's going to pave the way for you to continue this effort. This is going to get you through the holidays, which is excellent. I think y'all are brave. So take this 8 weeks, evaluate your pantry, learn your portion sizes and your dish sizes. And I think a number one thing, and I cannot stress this enough, is to track what you eat, to track what you do. Set yourself a goal, and then if you don't write it down, you won't know when you've made your goal. Y'all just got your biometrics, I believe, through the open enrollment, some blood work. So you probably have fresh blood pressure, hemoglobin A1C, cholesterol, things like that. You can use those numbers as a goal. So if your blood pressure was high, blood pressure is an easy thing to get checked. You can set your goal. I want to reduce my blood pressure by X in 8 weeks, whatever time amount. Then you can go back and have that checked. You'll know if you're on track. So it's not just weight. Use those numbers that they just gave you through your biometrics. That's some strong stuff right there. Any questions? Because I can talk about this all day.
I have one.
Yes.
Is there a preference in salad dressing that you use, creamy versus?
Okay, the question is there a preference in salad dressings to use, creamy versus Italian versus all the other things? And I'm a big fan of making your own salad dressings. That puts you in control of it. Now, y'all are busy people. You may not have time for that. So when it comes to the salad dressings, pretty much all salad dressing is fairly high in calories that you're going to buy. If you buy the low fat, it's going to be higher in sugar. So you want to check those calories. Portion control is your best friend on the salad dressing. So I can't really say which is going to be less because it all depends. If you're making your own, and I've got great recipes for that, then you can make a modest salad dressing, but try and have 2 tablespoons at the most, and then dip your fork in the salad dressing, and then get your lettuce. And that will kind of spread it around a little bit better. So I got one here, and then I'm coming over here. Yes, ma'am.
No, I'm just going to make the statement. They have the spray salad dressing now. It's only 5 calories.
That's right. I forgot. There is a spray salad dressing that you can buy, and they're very lightweight. That's a good alternative. Thanks. Yeah, so y'all look at that. Yes, ma'am. Drinking protein shakes. I'm glad you asked that. Okay. Now, I don't have much of a view on drinking protein shakes. I'll go ahead and answer that right now. Now, however, where this is going to become interesting is as you are looking at your eating pattern and saying, okay, what can I do to help me lose weight? To use and it might be the same thing, the meal replacement shakes can be a valuable tool in helping you to get going and lose some weight. So protein shakes are probably about the same as like an Ensure or something like that, a meal replacement. What you want to look at in your protein shakes, you want 7 or so grams of protein is good. 7 to 10. You don't want high fructose corn syrup. I think you want some fiber in that thing because when they make these shakes, they put vitamins and minerals in them, but they can't possibly put all the nutrients that are in nature. So we want to use them for a short time. And they can help you to manage your caloric intake. So whether it be a meal replacement like a Glucerna or one of those Special K protein shakes or something like that, that's something that you may want to look at using in your weight loss plan. I wouldn't continue them forever. I would use it as a short-term kind of a thing. Okay, this is working. I need to figure out what real food I can eat, and then definitely look for the fiber in it because you don't want to be deficient in fiber. Yes, ma'am.
What about Ensure?
Okay, Ensure is and all these things are kind of the same thing. They are a meal replacement or you've got supplements.
Right.
So Ensure is a supplemental food. You've got other drinks out there that are intended to be meal replacements. So you want to look and see how you're using it and what you want to use it for. If you are replacing a meal, look for a meal replacement shake. If it's just a little bit of a snack in the afternoon, then you can use that. Because your snacks, and this will be in the PowerPoint, you take your amount of your meal, divide that in half, and that's about what a snack calorie amount might be. So you can probably find a shake that will match that level. And for an Ensure or a Glucerna, we think of these as medical nutritional foods, but these are things that you could use as a replacement for a lunch. So if you know that on Wednesdays, you are not going to get to eat lunch. You just know it, that's how life is. One of these tools may work well. I will say they're better cold than at room temperature. So does that make sense? Yeah, they taste better cold. I heard somebody, did somebody say no? Because I want to clarify. Okay.
Also, that's just kind of a follow-up. If you're making your own protein shakes or you're putting protein powder
Okay.
in it with fruits and vegetables,
Okay.
milk, is that okay? And a part B of that is what about juicing?
Okay, so I got a question about making your own protein shakes and juicing. Okay, great questions. If you're making your own protein shakes, you are totally in control. That's a good thing, I think, when it comes to your food. So you want to evaluate what's in that shake. So you know you can get the calories for your protein powder, you can get the calories for your yogurt, you can find the calories for the fruit. So work up how many calories are in your shake and how much you're drinking at one time, and include that in your plan, because you're using some whole foods in there. Now when you're juicing, if you're using a juice extractor that takes all the pulp out, I would rather see you use a juicer that leaves that pulp in, because that's the fiber. So if you're juicing, try and use a machine where you get the fiber still in your food. Otherwise, that's not going to stay with you very long, and just a vegetable fruit smoothie, vegetable or fruit juice extract may not give you enough calories to last you the whole day. So you want to look at how many calories you're getting in that, and is it going to fuel you until the next time that you're available to eat.
Okay,